The Vietnam War was a moment in time that instigated absolute turmoil and unrest within our nation, within our people, within the hippies, and even within the arts. Because of the ugly, unwinnable war, our US government felt compelled to insert funding, money into the art programs for our youth. Youth meaning the protesters. In doing so, one could reasonably say that the separation of church and state essentially had become just one more government-assigned powder keg, oddly left grounded into New York City's Lower East Side avant-garde and experimental art community. Funding for the arts began being distributed by the government. Get ready for this. Local rectory church priests. The money went to the priests in order to help assist the troubled youth, and as a goal to attract young people to deeds within the church. The inception of arts programs were being recognized due to the war. For example, the Preservation Youth Project was founded, including youth who had previously been arrested for robbing the church. Astounding. I mean, you just can't make this shit up. It's our history. Now, the St. Mark's Church in the Bowery is New York City's oldest church and was turned into a cultural center. Under the rector, Reverend Michael Allen, representing the church's commitment to the experimental arts. Reverend Allen welcomed screenings of experimental films at the church in the 1960s, when New York City had banned so-called underground films. Arts programs were being recognized by the Department of Health. The Poetry Project was born in 1966 at the church at St. Mark's, and this marks an important year, as it also was the year that the Millennium Film Workshop was also born, and blessed by those priests and undisclosed government officials, maybe even CIA for all we know. Filmmaker Ken Jacobs created and named the Millennium Film Workshop, which was to film what the Poetry Project was to poetry. Ken Jacobs was fired by the Reverend due to a cacophony of disputes and a tug of war between the government grant money and the church's inability to find harmony within the two. And so there is what we will start our split screen bad audio Skype recorded interview story on this history of the Millennium Film Workshop and its journal.
I see you. Can you see me?
Yeah.
No, but can you see me? I'm moving my hand. What am I doing right now?
I see you moving your hand.
Ah, God bless America. All right, we got this. Hold on a second. All right. Hold on. How come I can't? You hear me clear?
I do.
Yeah, let me turn this phone off and tell me if you can hear me. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, man. We're going to figure this out. Hold on a second. Wow. Holy cow. I can't believe we pulled this off. This is pretty wild.
Where is the system now?
Hold on, let me turn this up. Where's the what?
Where is? Yeah, I see the sign behind you.
Well, I hear the phone's off the hook. This is very experimental, this whole interview. I put that sign up for you. This is like, it's part of the whole, the mise en scène. Can you see it in the back, though? I can't even see it. Hold on.
Yeah, I can.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right. It's right by my fish tank. All right, you got a mask? You don't need a mask, right? You're inside the house? All right.
I think there's little detection of
There.
See?
Yeah, see? I think we're socially distanced enough to say, forget about the mask.
I would think so.
Listen, what is this? I love this. Is this your work studio right there behind you? I love it.
This is a loft that we've been living in since 1966.
Oh, wow. 1966. Hi, Flo. Flo, come into the shot. Get into the shot.
Look over here.
Let's get the blocking right. There she is. All right. This is the real power couple. Forget about John Cassavetes and Gina Rowlands. There we go. Have a seat, Flo. Very nice. I'm so glad we figured this out. I was on the West Side Highway panicking, not thinking we could pull this off, but we pulled it off.
We blundered good.
Yes.
Have you seen this?
Wow. Yeah, that's it. I'll have to ask Graham to show me that copy. What issue is that?
The 20th anniversary special edition.
It's about 1968.
Yeah.
1968?
Says number 16, 17, 18.
Wow. So tell me a little bit about, I had a little script of questions, but let's go off script. Well, tell me a little bit about this journal.
Well, 1985. Well, it was a anniversary of sorts of Millennium, and Flo and I answered questions. It was an interview.
Oh, gotcha.
I think it'd be important for you to see it.
Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at it. I can definitely get a copy, and I will get a copy.
Yeah, and a lot of people important to independent film have written articles.
Okay, I will definitely. I'll definitely gonna grab a copy of that. Well, here's the deal, Ken. Like I told you before, I'm walking in 2017, Bilbao, Spain. I was resistant to go to that museum with the big Jeff Koons dog, and I said, you know what? Let me just do it.
I hate that dog.
I hated the dog too. It's why I didn't go in. So I said, you know what? I was about to head back. I was like, let me just go in and do this. So I had a coffee outside. I went inside, and the first thing I see is Ken Jacobs, Millennium Film Workshop. I was like, whoa, mind blowing. And the show, your show blew me away, obviously.
Thank you.
And so begins the impetus of me always wanting to have a talk with you. And yeah, that journal might have a lot of important interviews, but you know what? I want to hear from you also, just like how you feel today about, thinking about the past and the origins of how you started this whole Millennium idea. And so if we could start there, like,
yes, Flo was reminding me that it started with Stanvanderbeek. That there was a co-op meeting that I attended with other filmmakers, and Stan spoke about getting together some money and renting an editing studio that people could use one after the other. You would reserve time and go into a professional editing studio and be able to use it. So that's where the idea came from. And
you and he went looking for space.
Yeah, and Stan Vanderbeek and I were looking for spaces. I think we found something. And then later on, not too much later, this opportunity to begin some sort of film something.
Like a collective of people?
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't collective.
It was really blank.
It was up to what Kenneth people were sent in proposals of what they wanted to do.
And the money was. Oh, I know. I remember what it was. It was to be a study of youth, alienated youth.
That was the first. Wow.
This is what it was about, alienated youth.
This is before you guys got arrested with the whole Jack Smith screening. This is prior to that, or after? After. Gotcha.
Jack Smith is 63, 64.
And okay, so I came up with the idea of a working place where filmmakers could come in and reserve space, equipment, whatever.
Okay.
I offered that, and I guess it was accepted. The money was to go from the federal government. What part? The federal government for the study on youth
and education and welfare.
And they figured out the money would go through the St. Mark's Church on the Bowery, which had a number of social programs going on at the time. And then it would come down to the filmmakers, and they made another one of these things for poetry, and a third one for theater.
So there was some funding available for this new avant-garde type of artwork.
From the Washington, D.C.
Oh, and then the money went first to the New School for Social Research.
Yeah.
The New School for Social Research, and they connected with St. Mark's Church in the Bowery, and these three now art organizations had to find a place. We found this. How that happened? The police station, which now houses Anthology Film Archives.
It was a courthouse, though, right? It was like a courthouse.
Second Avenue, 6th Street.
But there was the jail
downstairs. That's right. So hold on a second. So the Millennium was at the Anthology Film Archives jail courthouse prior to it being Anthology Film Archives.
Correct.
Oh, wow. Very interesting.
The police had vacated, and it was necessary to clean the place, which meant cleaning feces off the walls of the cells.
And blood.
You hear about people having the shit beat out of them. Apparently it's true.
That's great. Yes.
5 feces on all the jail cells.
Wow. So when did what year would this be about? 66 or a little after 66?
66.
So when did the open screenings begin? When did your idea of open screenings start?
Before that.
No. Alfredleslie happened having open screenings at the church, and we picked up and just carried it on. The painter Alfredleslie, who became significant in the choosing of what programs would take place. He had already been working with the church. So, how did the courthouse happen?
He said that there was a job, and that did you have any ideas of what to do, and you should submit it. And he was the one who, I think, submitted it for you.
Can you hear, Flo?
Oh yeah, I hear you guys. Great. Yes.
So I was one of a number of people who submitted ideas.
Tried for the job.
Yeah, and mine was taken. I had someone competing for the position, Stanton K. He's a young guy, younger than me at the time, who had made a very successful film. Georg. The film was called Georg, I think. Georg. And, but he became my assistant.
Okay. Ken, was there a real structure there as far as leadership is concerned, and how did you manage that?
I was the leader.
He was the director.
The director. We got the basement of the film section. Again, poetry and theater. We got the basement because it had jail cells.
Wow.
Jail cells made perfect editing cells.
That's all you do is you lock your stuff up.
It reminds me, in Bromley, this whole punk movement in the '70s, they used the Chislehurst caves for a lot of musicians would go into the different caverns in the Chislehurst caves, even Jimi Hendrix and whatnot. So it reminds me a little bit of the Chislehurst caves in Bromley, London, East London, southeast London. Wow, so interesting. So from the prison cells we had these screenings with these feces covered walls, or I guess they cleaned the walls at that point. Then you guys did. Oh wow. So the community, you guys as a community cleaned the place up, had these screenings with funding from government funding, and then what happened? Why did you move from that space somewhere else?
A few places.
A few places.
We were there at least a year.
No, 66. We started in 66, and we were fired in 66.
Oh, okay. So I started in '66 in process. I was fired in April of '67. Stanton King was not happy being my assistant and did everything possible to fuck the place up and keep it from running well. We had a system of keys. We had a schedule, and he ignored the schedule. Would use it himself or bring his friends in. He was just out to demolish us, and he succeeded.
And he didn't want Ken to be teaching multiple classes to do his 8mm film. He wanted to make a 35mm film.
That's right. He wanted to make a 35mm film. That would be the program.
Well,
not getting involved with the public. He would pick a crew. They would make a movie, and that would be the fulfilling of the project.
And Ken's idea was something similar to a public lending library. He took the money that he had to spend very carefully, spent it on a lot of 8mm equipment, and people started learning on 8mm. I think there was only 1/16.
That philosophy was preserved for a long time thereafter. I gotta say, because my recollection in the '90s is it still maintained that spirit. But what you're describing, Ken, it seems like historically the Millennium Film Workshop as a political entity seems to have gone through these periods of turmoil amongst these sort of like young radicals who end up eating each other at different points, and then putting themselves back together again. Millennium's very much always seemed to be like the underdog of these different collections of film organizations.
Stanton was no one. He was somebody who wanted to make Hollywood movies.
Oh, Hollywood, okay. So when that falling out happened, the Millennium continued. You still continued, just in a different place, or it stayed there?
We recreated the place
On 2nd Avenue and 2nd Street.
With money that we had gotten because the city had forcibly moved us from where we had lived alongside the Brooklyn Bridge.
Two things. It's called urban renewal. We were given $1,500 and then the other money that originally came was from the Peg Stanford Foundation. And that was through Jonas. And after that, there were quite a few successful artists who donated things to the Millennium.
Wow.
Equipment.
That could never have been purchased.
Wow.
The expense. Like a Nagra tape recorder, for instance.
From
Shirley Clark.
Shirley
Clark? Okay. Who came up with the logo? Who came up with the design of the logo?
Not Kenneth, but the name Millennium Film Workshop is here.
How, Ken? How'd you come up with that? It's
I
very
thought-
sci-fi.
I thought what we were doing was absurd, and I wanted to stress the absurdity of it.
That's great.
Yeah.
So,
Nothing was still, everything was borrowed, of course.
and
Yeah.
signed out, and everything was signed out.
Signed back in.
There was also some equipment that Jonas had received for maybe do a similar thing. And he gave us all that
That
equipment.
was the first thing.
Yeah, the Big Stanford Foundation had given Jonas a grant, and he sent that over to us. Okay, that's an important part of the story, because when Stanton proved to be effective at getting me kicked out, Alfred Leslie was called in to arbitrate the problem. Alfred Leslie did not want to speak about what had actually been happening at Millennium. He only wanted the equipment that Jonas Meekes had given us to be returned to Jonas publicly with some kind of condemnation of Jonas as in what do you call it, an octopus. Jonas was an octopus.
Pickles and everything is what he said.
Okay, what had happened, everything goes, it's wonderfully elaborate. It goes back to Alfred being furious with Jonas for not recognizing his important participation in the making of
Oh my God.
Pull My Daisy. You know the film Pull My Daisy?
Yes,
It's good, and very important film.
yes.
And Jonas had given more credit to
Robert Frank.
Robert Frank than to Leslie. There's no way that Robert Frank would have come up with this thing. You know, he was a humorless guy, and Alfred had the playfulness to help make the film what it was. Okay, so Alfred was hating Jonas, and he used this opportunity to, in his screwy way, to get back at Jonas. I was to make a public statement and return the equipment.
You gotta laugh about this stuff.
Oh, of course,
You have
of course.
to, yeah.
It's like real life.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Ken, but when you have a placard up in Spain with your name on it, a Millennium Film Workshop, I imagine you take great pride in that, correct?
In Spain, there's a placard with my name in Spain.
Well, your show, when you had your show, show,
Oh, yes,
you take pride in that, right?
of course.
It's great. Do you both feel that the Millennium Film Workshop that you guys started in '66 onward, did it change the way you guys thought about making your own films and work? Did it make it different? Did it change how you approached making your own films?
No, it had been a huge distraction, and when we stopped, I just went back to my own filmmaking. As if nothing had happened.
And a lot of students at the end went down to Washington, D.C.
Who complained?
to speak to people. And
About what had occurred?
Yeah.
Yeah, the students actually picketed the building, the church, as a matter of fact. And the poets and the theater people did not want to become involved in this. Their feeling was there was so little for them available that they weren't gonna challenge the priest. What was the name of the priest?
I was thinking of what it was. They didn't want to rock the boat.
They didn't want to rock the boat. His name was what? What was it? The jerk.
Father Al.
Father Allen. Father Allen had some kind of intimate relationship with Stanton K. And Stanton was able to use that.
So by the time the Millennium, when did you guys remove yourselves from being a part of Millennium? What year was that?
67.
67?
Yeah.
So you had a solid, strong 1 year of inventing and creating this, and then it took off. How did you feel about the when it ended up in the hands of Howard? Not for Howard's sake, but just I'm sorry.
Just wait a second. What happened was just in
Flo, come up a little bit closer to the mic. Yeah.
the money that moved, we lived on Ferry Street, which was being torn down, and we were moved by the city of New York to this location. And we got $1,600 for urban renewal money to help us make the transition. That money, we told Jonas about it. He said, use that money, and you pay me back when you can.
Oh, no, the money from Jonas,
Yeah.
as well as the money we got from the city government.
Yeah.
So this was our money.
Jonas back the money that we were given.
Okay. Yeah, okay. The place we moved to was a block away, but by coincidence, and it was a place. It was another
Ray Henry.
kind of hippie project. It was, to help people make art. Another public-minded project to young people. And Ray Henry and her boyfriend, Bob Lowe, were tired of it. And they were going to go to Leary, Timothy Leary's place in the country. They gave us their place. They gave us their studio. It was a time when that could happen, They very informally gave us the studio, and we revived Millennium.
There's one more thing. What is it when you make something legal?
We had to legalize
we
the whole thing.
And we
went to lawyers to then make this a separate.
To incorporate it. Wow.
That's what we did. We incorporated in Millennium.
Flo, you're like a walking encyclopedia when it comes to all of this stuff. Wow.
She has amazing memory.
Wow. How did you guys feel about the real estate that did last for a long time, which was the East 4th Street location? Did you guys ever visit it, and what were your feelings about it?
We went there often. We started off, another months of running the place there, and then I had enough. I was also offered a teaching job at St. John's University, and I had to make my own work.
Yeah, which you still are, right? You said you're working to this day at night, and your daughter was helping you color correct or doing something with the computer the other night, right?
Correct.
Wow. So how do you guys feel about nowadays the fact that Bolexes, Steenbecks, the optical printer, these things are seen as antiquated, and a lot of things are being done now with the small technology, the 3D phone you carry with you, the iPhones. Do you guys feel like that is a new type of way of a Millennium Film Shop artist working now with these small tools, or not the case?
Of course.
Great. Agree. Yeah, so that's pretty. Go ahead.
I'm not sentimental about film. I mean, things change. Video is amazing, wonderful, unlimited future.
That's great, Ken. I agree with you 100%. With the journal, guys, tell me about the journal. When did the journal idea begin, or when did you become aware of it?
We were.
Yeah, it happened under Howard.
But it still happened under the name that you guys created and the philosophy and the theme. So how did you guys feel? You guys, in a way, it would not exist had you guys not come up with the initial idea.
It was fine. I liked it. I think the nature of the thing that happened after we left is that instead of the people who used the place electing someone that was also using the place to run it, it went into Howard.
Guten Plan.
Howard's hands, and he held on to it.
It was supposed to be like after every year or two, people would vote for changing the director. It was never supposed to be like something that existed, but with one person in control.
So Howard got it, and he held on to it.
Meanwhile, it did survive.
Yeah, that's true.
We give him credit for that, and absorbed his theft.
Yeah. Again, this is something so unique to Millennium, right? The other, I don't want to name names, but the other 3 or 4 organizations that were around New York City, Manhattan, didn't have these kind of political beefs and problems, right? This is very unique to Millennium. Millennium very much is a black sheep of the experimental film family, it seems.
Don't forget, oh my God. You keep talking until I remember something important.
We don't remember other organizations at the time. I know a number exist. Some may be more or less aware of Millennium initiating this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So man, Millennium is still around, right? And it still exists. And how do you feel about that? And if you have if you were to have any say in how you guys would like to see it exist and progress, what would be your advice?
We are out of it.
Say it again.
We are out of it. We're out of the functioning of the present millennium. We don't know what's going on.
And they're not interested in contacting us for some reason. I don't understand.
I'm sorry. Come up a little bit so I can hear.
And the present millennium is not interested in working with us. There was a period a few years ago when I was involved with other people trying to save Millennium. Millennium, after Howard had died, no longer had a place. It was going out of existence, and we were trying to save Millennium. The original Millennium did, and we had enough. I stepped away. You're the first contact that we've had from them since the remaking of Millennium.
I've been with the Millennium since, obviously making stuff since the 90s, but I've been on the board since 2016. And, I got to tell you, you guys are like everything that I sort of aspire for as far as how the organization should move forward and carry on. And I know it's been through ups and downs, but I only see positive when I think about the origins of what it was about, and I think what you guys created, it's thematically as a philosophy, it still exists. It really does.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And today, however, there are a few organizations. I'm sure all struggling, but it's no longer the single hope of many filmmakers. Ernie Garrett was one of the filmmakers that came around in the beginning and learn how to use a camera, So I think we had some successes. Some people who graduated and have remained strong.
I remember people going down to Washington, D.C.
Can you hear?
Yeah.
and when they tried to explain what was going on, they were told, we have laws that will protect what's going on.
I think that happened to Gary Smith. He went there and said, "Look, they're breaking the law. This was not this was not the agreement that Millennium had with all these other institutions." And he was just told, "You're breaking that law." I have a book and I can show you laws that will align with what they're doing. So Gary Smith met defeat in Washington, trying to salvage the original Millennium.
Besides Gary, that was the other thing. The director was supposed to be voted up, whoever became the director, every 2 years.
So very much a democracy, a really functioning democracy.
Very much.
There are people who, Gary Smith came to New York from Kansas. He was studying at Cooper Union and became so dedicated to the Millennium that he left Cooper Union and just worked solely to keep the Millennium going.
Ken, is there any particular film that either of you have made, edited at Millennium, whether it be in '66 or any other year that you made the whole film and cut it at Millennium?
No way.
What we did with shadow play.
Oh, we did live shadow play. I invented 3D shadow play. Oh, yeah. All right. So the original one was 2D shadow play, and we rehearsed at Millennium and presented it where?
MoMA.
At MoMA. New York MoMA.
But you created this at the Millennium.
Yeah.
Okay. This is like a live, kind of like expanded cinema type thing?
30 men, and we didn't create it at MoMA. We presented it.
Oh, no, I see. We created it at Millennium.
And you used it to rehearse.
At Millennium? Yeah, I know.
Why
we rehearsed it at Millennium, presented it at the New York Museum of Modern Art. And there was 3D shadow play. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 2D shadow play, screen figures behind it. And later on, I developed 3D shadow play.
Wow. Which is that? Is that GIF you put in the email to me? That's kind of, it's a never-ending merging of.
That's something else.
Okay.
That's a video, and it's that technique I call Eternalism.
It is eternal. I keep trying to catch where it ends, and it just never ends.
You can't do it.
No. So what are you working on now?
Oh, one more thing. You should interview Alfred Leslie.
Alfred Leslie?
Yes. He's definitely the reason whatever happened, one way or the other. He's for good and bad.
Because of him, I was hired. Because of him, I was fired.
And because of him, you remain an icon for experimental cinema in New York City. Period.
I hope that's my films.
Yes, it's your films.
Alfred, I think, is 95 now.
95. I'm only 87.
What when there was strife and turmoil politically with Millennium, did it ever make you not want to make films anymore, or what? Go ahead.
Oh.
No way.
No way.
That's great.
I sort of put aside my active artistic life to work at this project. Like I felt a need for it. But when I was coming up, I had no money, no assistance, no equipment, and I knew what that was like.
So you compartmentalized creating art and then creating this collective of artists to basically provide for one another equipment and a safe place to go to make stuff amongst as a community.
Yes.
Also education.
Oh yes, we had
people were donating things, including classes.
People in the industry would hear about us and donate things. Okay, so we after a while we had quite a bit of stuff that all became standing caves.
And that didn't last long.
Yeah. Well, we also had screenings at the church. We kept that up, and we had classes. People who knew something in some area of film would teach sound, a number of classes, lighting. And people attended those. So it was also a school.
Free of charge? They would donate their teaching?
Of charge.
Wow.
Yeah, they wanted to do it.
Wow. Amazing. They were inspired by the whole concept of Millennium.
Yes.
And where's the Millennium sign in this room? Is it hiding behind the picture rack over there or something? Or
Yeah.
What are you working on now, Ken, at night? What is your secret project you're working on?
I work in the day, but to be effective, I have to work with someone. And for some years now, I've been working with my daughter, who lives right nearby, but we don't see because of the virus.
Oh.
And so we work on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Logged in.
What software are you using? The Premiere Pro? What are you using to edit? Premiere. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's the closest thing to a Steenbeck virtually. I mean.
Yeah. What I can do is send you a recent piece, a short recent piece.
Please.
But you won't know what the next film is like. One of these films doesn't tell you about the others.
Excellent. I love it. Kind of like all the different people who ran Millennium. You never know who the next one's going to be. Listen, send it to me. We'll be in touch with email. Send me an email of that. And I want to tell you, thank you for creating the Millennium. You guys have had such an impact on people like me and others. As I've told you before, I went to Purchase Film School, and I got to tell you, what I looked forward the most every Friday was getting downtown from Purchase, New York to downtown just to go to Millennium on Friday and Saturday. Friday for open screening so I can show whatever the heck I'm working on, whether it was finished or not, and Saturday to see who they chose for personal cinema. Had a huge impact on me wanting to make movies, and it's because of you guys and what you guys invented, and I want to thank you because what you did has changed my life.
Thank you very much. We did institute these two types of screening. Somebody who will be invited and also an open screening.
Wow. So you guys came up with that whole concept.
Yeah.
And also he didn't prejudge.
Oh yes, there was no prejudging. If somebody has something to show, we can show it.
Just had to be up to a certain length.
Yeah, or limited by a certain length. But I didn't set myself up as a judge of cinema.
I wrote that down. I wanted to ask you. So you didn't judge any works. There was no walkouts. People could show whatever they had come up with.
Yes.
And the only requirement was to be there at the end. Answer questions.
Oh, to answer questions at the end.
That was important. That was an important component of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that when he studied painting, people really didn't communicate with what they were doing.
And I wanted that. You know.
Wow. Well, that's very important and good to know.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any questions for me? No?
How do you get your balance and enthusiasm?
Because of you guys. Because of that sign back there put up by the fish tank. That's how. All right?
I'll tell you one funny thing.
Yes, please.
We couldn't figure out how to lens things and get them back. And eventually we wound up using index cards with people putting their name down. And I think that and keys, we handed keys to them to use for the editing sound. Anyway, it was very touching.
People were very honest.
I don't think anything was stolen at all,
Wow.
except for some lower life.
I mean, somebody could maybe get coffee together, go, come in, borrow the super tape recorder, costing about $2,000, and step out. But they had to bring it back on time, and they did.
That could be a sign of the times, though. I don't know if today we would have such luck, but I hope we would. I hope we would. What, do you have your 3D phone with you? Is it in your pocket now? Your little camera phone?
I have it next to me.
You're supposed to have it at arm's length if you have a inspiration to shoot. Oh, wow, look at it. I love this room.
Anyway, this is an important issue.
I'm going to get it.
Yeah,
I'm going to get it.
And here's my 35, my stereo camera, Fuji W3.
Love
not W1, W3. Really wonderful camera, no longer made, but it's possible to get it.
It's impossible. It's impossible to get it.
Yes.
Still possible.
It's still possible to get it. Oh, you love this thing. Look, you're holding it like a Bolex. You're in love with this thing.
I really am. I've gone through 100 cameras. This is the most fitting.
Look what I ordered. I got this during the pandemic. This is a coffee mug that looks like a Canon lens. So every morning I drink my morning coffee in a fake plastic camera lens. I have to get one of those things. All right. We'll be in touch. Send me your film as MP4 or something so I can edit it in this thing. God bless, and when the pandemic's over, let me visit and hang out in that room with you, please. All right? Bye-bye, guys. Bye. Get some rest. Thank you for Millennium, Flo and Ken. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.